Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather Watch. Today's July 11th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can see the marine layer bouncing around on the coastline here into some of the interior valleys, kind of burning back a little bit here as we go through this morning. If you look across some of Arizona, you can see a little bit of this monsoon moisture trying to return to eastern and southern areas here. Maybe we can kick off some thunderstorms here over the next couple days north of Phoenix across some of the higher terrain as well. But no strong signal for the monsoon's return as of right now. And the big weather story coming up here is the huge ridge of high pressure is going to develop across the entire southwest here and really crank up the heat across much of the region. We'll take a look at that in some detail here coming up. This day in Southern Cal weather history, check it out. Deep monsoon moisture brought widespread thunderstorms to the mountains and deserts. So the monsoon can affect California here as well. You can see this wall of water that rushed down, destroying 7 homes, killing 1 resident out there. So yeah, you can get some pretty good flooding out there actually with some of this monsoon moisture as well across the state of California on some years, and maybe this will be the case later on into the summer anyway, but this was well back in 1999. This is looking at the dangerous heat later this week. So we got Las Vegas here, and you can see in the dashed red are the record highs. You can see by the time you get towards Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be right there trying to challenge some of these record highs on in through Monday as well. So definitely warmer than normal, potentially record warm for some of the areas here. Major to extreme heat risk across the region. Look at some of these overnight lows just only getting down to some of the upper 80s and even towards 90 degrees by the time you get into early next week. Not much relief in the overnight hours. This is looking at Phoenix here. So this prolonged heat wave is going to continue here, already above normal, and looking at some extreme temperatures by the time you get towards Saturday and Sunday for Phoenix here. And look at Blythe down there, 118, the forecast high for Sunday. This is thunderstorm chances today. Here's Phoenix. There's Tucson down here, and you can see you get to get a thunderstorm across some of the higher terrain north and south of Phoenix here as the monsoon moisture tries to creep back in here. But this ridge is really going to suppress it here as we go towards the weekend and allow things to really warm up across the region. More on that here in a moment. Day 1 fire outlook does include Las Vegas and some of Nevada here into Utah, a little bit of Arizona as well here with gusty winds during the afternoon hours. Now we're looking at 2-meter temperature here, and you can kind of see the diurnal cycle here. The overnight lows cooling off a bit, then the warm up as you go on in through to this afternoon today, and we'll go through Wednesday here next. And then Thursday here coming up, Thursday afternoon, and you can see the warm-up starting to increase here as we go towards the end of the week here. Now we go on into Friday afternoon, even warmer temperatures here, but always kind of nice to watch the diurnal cycle, the warm-up and the cool-down here. But look at some of these highs by the time we get to Friday, and we're even going to be warmer on Saturday and Sunday here, so potentially record heat for some areas coming up. This is looking at the 100-meter wind speed here, and if we go through the afternoon hours today, you see the winds increase here across some of the region. Wednesday afternoon, go to Thursday afternoon, winds increase again, and you can just see the persistent winds again down the coastline here, especially some of the higher terrain here along the immediate coastline. The winds can get pretty crazy here. You got the strong gradient with the cooler air off the Pacific Ocean here versus the warm interior regions here. Excuse me, frog in my throat this morning. Now, taking a look here, we got the 3-hour precipitation from the European, kind of a running total here, 3-hour totals. And you can see some of that activity pop up across the higher terrain today across Arizona. So a little bit of relief maybe in some areas with those thunderstorms. So we go through tomorrow afternoon. A little bit of the same story, but you can see the decline in the amount of precipitation falling, and you go through Thursday afternoon, kind of a gradual decline as we go towards the end of the week here, as this ridge starts to set up and kind of suppresses what moisture was trying to make its way into Arizona. But you can see no precipitation expected for California or Nevada here, at least through this weekend, probably on into early next week as well. This is total precipitation on the control run. This is going to go out 15 days here. So you can see the initial little bit of a burst of the monsoon activity here, then it kind of suppresses. If we go further, anytime you go off into the extended, you can go far enough to kind of find something here, but you can see some moisture returning to some of the area here as you go well out. I mean, you almost have to go over 300 plus hours out here, so no big strong monsoon signal here right now across a lot of the desert southwest. We'll continue to visit this in the upcoming days. Day 1 thunderstorm outlook does include Utah and Arizona here, mainly portions east. Day 2 again there, and then it's going to back off towards the end of the week, as I mentioned. But this is Phoenix, Sky Harbor Airport here. Check out some of these highs. The red line is the average high, and you can see the gradual decline as the monsoon season increases here. Usually you start to get more clouds, suppresses the temperatures just a bit. So it really have hit the peak here for the season, but you wouldn't know it here by the heat wave that's going to be coming up through this weekend. As you can see, above average temperatures expected all the way in through July 25th on last night's European run. And this is looking at Tonopah, Nevada. This is over 6,000 feet, and you can see some temperatures up over 100 degrees there. I used to live out there, National Weather Service job, but you can see the prolonged heat expected there as well. Above average temperatures all the way through the end of July. This is Las Vegas. Again, similar story here. You can see the average temperatures versus the forecast highs well up into the 100 and teens here coming up this weekend, so heads up. This is Los Angeles, close to the coastline here, so the temperatures, you do get a bit of this marine effect here, but it is going to be above average here as we go on in through the extended as well. A little bit of a bump Saturday and Sunday here, getting up towards the mid and upper 80s possible. This is Burbank. You just have to go inland a little bit here to get away from that marine layer at times, and you can see some temperatures pushing 100 degrees here and above average through the end of July. Look at Bakersfield, just ridiculous. Look at the forecast high for Sunday, 118 degrees. Not much relief overnight. Coming up through this weekend into the early portions of next week, and the red line again is the average temperatures, and you can see the forecast highs exceeding those every single day on in through July 25th. Sacramento, kind of ridiculous temperatures coming up Saturday and Sunday as well. Already plenty hot this time of year, well above average here going on through the weekend. Redding, California, similar story here. Look at the forecast high for Saturday, 117 degrees before maybe a return back down towards normal here as we go on in through later July. We'll continue to watch that over the next few days. But if you want the relief, check out Eureka, California. Look at the little tiny bump above average here as we go through Friday, Saturday, but right around average here. That marine influence just kind of dominating the weather there. The average high this time of year about 61 degrees for Eureka, California. So, take a trip out to Eureka if you want to beat the heat for sure, and bring a jacket with you. This is San Francisco. Check it out. 80 degrees on Saturday. Sunday not bad as well. You can see the temperature still climbing here, average speaking, as we go through the end of July, but a little bit of a bump even out towards the coastline for San Francisco there. This is looking at 850 millibar temperatures here on the European run, so check it out. You can kind of see the suppressed temperatures across California during the start of this run, but watch what happens. This ridge builds, it just really turns on the furnace here across the area, and you can see this prolonged heat kind of extends. You got some troughs moving through the Pacific Northwest, trying to impact some of maybe Northern California here, but you can see generally above average conditions all the way through the 10-day period coming up. Now let's check out 2-meter temperatures here. You can see a little bit below normal here across California. That's the recent days, but then you can see as we move towards this weekend, look at just this red just kind of takes over much of the West Coast all the way up into British Columbia. But look at some of these temperatures here across the desert Southwest and even interior portions of California, even the coastline warming up a bit here as well. And this kind of continues on here through much of the 10-day period, above average conditions expected. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the ridge. You can see the system moved through the Pacific Northwest. If you didn't hear it, did spawn a tornado in eastern Washington yesterday. Check out my videos for more on that. Next system kind of moves through here. Then this trough starts to retrograde out over the Pacific, and this ridge kind of takes advantage of that. Chicken and egg type thing. Did the ridge cause it, or did that trough, retrograding cause that? Probably a combination of both, just on how the planet circulates there. Checking out this ridge. Look at this thing just dominating, and this trough is not going to have much of an impact on California or Arizona or Nevada here. And you can see it tries to flatten that ridge out a bit here, but it kind of hanging on to above average heights here as we go on through the extended forecast here as well. This would be 10 days out. Look at this trough out here across Pacific Ocean. This is going to be a big player in our weather here coming up in the future. If this backs up a little bit here, would allow this ridge to continue its stranglehold across much of the Southwest. This is 6 to 10 day precipitation probability outlook all the way through July 20th there. This goes through July 24th. A little bit of a bump here, maybe through the end of the period here. Yet to be seen here. No promises there. This is 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook. I've got the average temperatures for this time of year, and you can see the entire region expected to be above average here. Phoenix, Las Vegas, Sacramento, Burbank, LAX. You can see all these areas are going to be above average all the way out through July 19th here, according to the 6 to 10 day outlook. Now, this is looking at El Nino, yeah. So this is the equatorial Pacific here. This is going over a 90-day period. Here we are going through early June. There's late June. You can see the warming occurring across the equatorial Pacific. It's kind of paused a little bit. It's slowed down in its trek towards the moderate El Nino conditions right now. We're probably right about moderate conditions, but some of the models are having it backing off a little bit. Not a super Godzilla El Nino coming up here. We'll see how that trends here over the next few days. This is going to bounce back, and will the heating continue here across the equatorial Pacific? We'll have to wait and see on that, but you can clearly see the above average conditions. A big flip from last year's La Nina conditions. Very warm water there off the coast of South America. This tends to be from weaker trade winds. The stronger trade winds you have, the more it pulls this water away from the coast of South America, allows that cooler water to upwell from underneath the ocean here and come up on the coast of South America, and leading to La Nina conditions. But we've got weaker winds here, so we allowed this heat to build up across the equatorial Pacific, hence bringing these El Nino conditions here, most likely headed towards at least a moderate El Nino here coming up through the fall months. And we'll continue to watch that here over the next over the next few months as we go. This is Nino 3.4. You can see we were right there at moderate conditions here. There's where those conditions are measured here across the equatorial Pacific. It would be Hawaii. There's Australia, South America, and Mexico there. And you can see our climb out of La Nina as we went through last fall, through the winter months here, and now we're into right button up against the moderate El Nino conditions here. And you can see as we went through May, we finally hit that El Nino threshold. So once we hit 3 running months of those temperatures being above 0.5 or 0.5 and above, we will be officially in El Nino conditions here, which almost certainly we are headed. This is looking at the CFS. Look at this. It kind of backs off a little bit there, July. Then we start to climb back up in the heat across the equatorial Pacific a bit here. But some of the ensembles saying we're just going to be in a moderate territory here. And if I zoom in on this a little bit, you can see Hawaii, Australia, South America there. And you can see August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So we're likely to be in El Nino, but how strong will the El Nino be is still up in the air. That question's still up in the air. But anyway, yeah, big heat coming up here, folks. We'll continue to monitor this. Just be prepared for it. This weekend is going to be downright scorching across much of the area, especially as you get any distance away from the coastline. The entire region will be quite warm here, and probably going to suppress that monsoon. A couple thunderstorms here over the next few days across some of the region, but that's going to come to an end probably towards the end of the week here. And hopefully the monsoon isn't going to take too much of a hiatus, though, as we go on into the following week here coming up. But anyway, so be prepared for that heat, and we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.